A plea is when you all of a sudden say, hey, look, I'm guilty. There's two parts to a plea. There's a waiver of your rights because you have a right to a trial, and there's a whole bunch of rights. You have a right to testify, cross-examine witnesses, blah, blah, blah. So you have to waive all those rights first. Then there's what's called a factual basis, and that's what we're going to show you here. Factual basis, that's where you have to admit that you committed a crime. You cannot enter a plea and not admit that you did something wrong. So let's see what the judge has to say, and the prosecutor in this case.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the factual basis. So basically you got to admit to what you're doing, or what you did. That makes you guilty.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated. So he all of a sudden acknowledges YSL as a gang.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
So he admitted not only that YSL is a music label, but it's also a gang, and that he and others committed crimes in furtherance of YSL.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were with Young Thug when you had some drugs and guns in the car. Oh, and by the way, none of that shit was yours, right? Okay. Oh, who says it? Oh, I guess it must have been the other guy. Fucking A.
I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
YSL as the gang must end. I deeply regret. First of all, that you don't need that for a plea. She wanted that for some reason. That's the prosecutor that's standing up talking right now. There's been a lot of talk in the Twitter sphere and the atmosphere and the cybersphere about whether or not Gunna is snitching. Well, they got a trial coming up, and now he just admitted in open court all these different things. Now, Gunna's lawyer, if you look on here, it says Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail. He has said nothing and is not cooperating. He just admitted in open court. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. Not true. So please stop spreading lies. Let's just break this down, because people want to know if he's a snitch or not. I can honestly tell you that I don't know if he's snitching or not. His lawyer says he's not cooperating, but that's what he's going to say. You wouldn't have any document to show that he's cooperating. But can his statement be used against somebody else in their trial? Well, let's analyze that. Unless there's a specific agreement to not have that be used in another person's trial, it can be. Why can't it be? Because it's an admission against penal interest. That is not hearsay. Otherwise, it would be a hearsay statement. But when you make a statement under oath and you inculpate yourself, that means you point the finger at yourself that you did something wrong. That's a statement against interest. That is not hearsay, and that absolutely can be used in a trial against Young Thug. Now, these are extremely serious charges. Kitchens was released from jail on Wednesday, that's yesterday, and his lawyer said he's been held without bail in advance of trial, which is supposed to start in January. This guilty plea was an important development in one of the two sprawling Atlanta criminal cases targeting what prosecutors say are a pair of feuding gangs that have committed dozens of shootings and other violent crimes since 2015. Further says that Kitchens entered an Alford Plea, which allows defendants to maintain their innocence while pleading guilty. So here's the plea agreement. I agreed to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that I speak to young men and women about the hazards and the immorality of gangs and gang violence and the decay that it causes on our community. I agree that the community service locations shall be determined by the office, blah, blah, blah. I will possess no guns during the term of this sentence or at any time, and he got 5 years commuted down to 1. For time served. So he's out and doesn't have to do any more time. Then you have the acknowledgments in that